Hello, my name is Mike Pfaff, and this is my YouTube channel, Living in the Illusion. Now, last time we got together, the last video I done, which was number 19, we were talking about how we create our world inside, and that outside, because in the diagram, if some of you didn't see that other video, in the diagram, this side represents outside of you. And this here represents what's inside of you. And there's a gap between the two that's filled because they're separated. The outside and the inside separated. And the interface between the two is your senses. So in the model, as we developed it last video, we use the eye as the main interface to see how this model worked. So the eye collects a lot of information from the outside. Now, we said the outside was everything. You see? Everything. And it's energy. And it is unmanifested. Now, that's a lot that's going on out here. But there's no objects as you think of them. This is just everything unmanifested energy outside of you. So, another thing we could say about this, because it's everything, and because it's unmanifested, and because it's only energy, we could, and it's everything, then we could also use the descriptor infinite. Well, we think it's infinite. We get, you go outside and you look up in the sky, it's infinite. Look at it. You can see only so far with your eyes, naked eye, but then you got telescopes, you got more, and there always seems to be something there. So I'm suggesting that it's infinite, what's outside of us. Now there's another word that comes to, another couple of words that as descriptors of this area here. Now we didn't mention them in the last video. One word that comes to mind is consciousness. Well, this could be consciousness. Could be consciousness. Wouldn't that be unusual? That's a big fight right now in the scientific world. They're trying to figure out what consciousness is. And this model could be that what's outside of us is just consciousness. Now, another word that comes to mind about what this might be, and you get it from a esoteric source called, I can't think of what it's called right now. Can't think of what it's called right now. So maybe that'll come up again. But the word they use, it's two words. It is the, 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 the all. So out here, which your eye penetrates, see, there's one kind of energy here, which is unmanifested everything. And then here's the eye. Your eye looks out and takes in the information in wavelengths of energy. Interesting how it does that, but these are just wavelengths of energy in a very small sliver of the light spectrum that we see. So we don't see that much. So it converts that into an energy, that inside of us we can interpret. So it switches energy. That's pretty fantastic for the eye. The eye is very fantastic. A lot of people spend their whole life studying the eye because it's so fantastic. But what comes out of the eye is what I'm interested in. And it comes out in the form of information. Information. So from this outside everything, we get information. That's what we found out in the last video. So, and the information is a lot. Much more than you can use, or much more than you can think about. So, you take out, now this represents a filter. I'm trying to put my finger on it. Okay, this represents a filter of the information that comes from your senses, in this case the eye, and you filter out information that's not important to you, or you don't need. Confusing. Don't know what it means. It just gets in your way. So you filter it out. Now what do you use to filter it out? You use your past. Use your past experiences, which are memories. No, that's what we came up with from before. That, and where your memories kept? In the subconscious mind. This represents the subconscious mind. So you use your past memories to filter the information that comes through your senses, looking for what matches your belief, your experience from the past. If you have no reference to it, if you have no reference material, it's useless information, and you let it go. So then, after you let it go, this, I say, before we said this was data 1 on this side of the filter. On the other side, the filtered information, data 2, is what you use in your active mind to create your world. Now we're getting to the essence of the whole process of recognizing what's out here isn't what's in here. Isn't what's in what I have called the active mind. And the active mind is a combination of the mind, the brain, the central nervous system. And so we have the subconscious mind where all your memories are, and nobody knows where that is. And we have the brain, which we know where it is, but we're not sure exactly how it operates. And then we have the central nervous system that communicates information throughout the body. So those elements go together, and with this data, this filtered data, we determine we determine what our world is. So the world that we create inside through interpretation based upon filtered data is not what's out here in the infinite everything. Now, we talked about how the eye and all our senses are only designed to see differences, interference patterns out here in the everything. They're not designed. They're not designed to see the everything, only differences. When the energy fields bump into each other or come together in some way, we see the differences. And this is what this data represents. That gets through the eye is the differences in here, not the everything. Not the everything that's here unmanifested. So, then, from our past, what we know, we all know something different. There's not two people that know the same thing. We know a lot of stuff together, but we don't know everything that, I don't know everything that you know. So in this process, you would come up with a different world, different interpretation than I would. Amazing, right? Now this down here, if you remember, or if you didn't see it, I'll tell you what it is. This is your other four senses and the information that they supply. And again, it is filtered through your past experiences or memories. And then on the secondary side of the filter is something less than they supply to you. That they give you the information that comes from the everything. So you never recognize that everything's out here. You only recognize after it's filtered what you can use based on your experience. So then you interpret the information. And from that interpretation, inside of you, you create the world. Now, another thing that we mentioned, though I better bring it up now, is that how fast this information flows inside of us from your senses. So your senses are like organs, and so they can be tested pretty good. And during that testing process, science is always interested in testing. From that, they have found out, and by the way, I got this information off the internet through Google, just asking a question, you know, like how fast does the senses transmit information? And it said, and I wrote this down last time, 11 million bits of data per second. Per second. A lot of stuff. That's why you got to filter it out, because you can't handle all that stuff. Most of it don't mean nothing to you. So you don't know what it is anyway. Now, you got the subconscious mind that is doing the filtering. So you got information coming to it, and then it's really quickly. Now, I tell you what I kind of think about this filtering process. Now, so use your imagination. And so I'll ask this question. Has anyone ever been to the Salvation Army or the Goodwill or some organization where you give them what you don't need for the support of other people, whatever it is? And most of us are going to say, well, yeah, I've done that. So I want you to think about when you drop something off, you donate something. Now we're going to talk about clothes. So when you donate clothes, you take your little bag or your big bag, and they take it and say, thank you very much. And they put it into I'm going to say a tote. Picture a tote. If you're in industry, you know what a tote is. That's where they put parts and stuff in. But they put all these clothes in there. Big bag, big box. And somebody from the front end that's selling this stuff, because that's what they do. They sell it at a cheap price so you can afford it, but they got to keep the lights on and they got to keep people working. So they got to charge something. So they charge a little bit here and a little bit there. But so he comes in because he knows what's going to sell, what's important. So now he got this big tote, and he goes in and he picks out something. A shirt. He's got the shirt and he says, I can sell this. So I'm going to put it over here. And he comes up, he gets a pair of underwear. Everybody needs underwear. He puts it over here. Then he reaches down, he gets a pair of pants. He's got, they got a stain. Can't use that. Puts it over on the other side. And so quickly, he goes through this tote, picking this stuff up, throwing it around, and at the end, he gets some stuff over here that he is sure he can use. So he gathers it up and he takes it out and he puts it on a hanger and he puts it in the thing. People buy it. What's he do with the other stuff? Can't use it. I don't know what they do with it. Maybe they ship it to a third world country where the little stain isn't going to matter. Don't know. But he's not putting it out in front to sell. This is what this filter system is. You're taking in all this data. You are making a judgment inside of you based upon what you know, which is your past experiences. And what doesn't match that, what you can't use, disappears. I don't know where it goes. It's just not here on the secondary side of the filter. And it is this data, data number 2, from all your senses that go into the active mind, the cauldron. I call it the cauldron because all the information goes in there. That's after the filtering. And out of that works together and you develop your world. Do you recognize now? And this is the important part of this. Do you recognize your world is not this? Your world is this. Your world is what you bring to the table. How you take this data and manipulate it to fit your needs. That's why you got the world you do. Everybody's got a different world. Why? Everybody's got a different past. If you had two people, now the reason you could have the same world, You might not recognize that, but you can have the same world. You know how you do that? You got to be the same person. Not even conjoined twins have the same world. So, everybody's got a different world. Now, out here, no objects, energy. Energy moving together, running into each other, bumping into each other, running through each other, different frequencies. All kinds of dynamic stuff here. There's no objects. Objects are created in here by your interpretation of the data. And you're not using all of the information. You're only using what fits your belief system as determined by your past. So if you've got a world in which you have anxiety, why do you have anxiety? Now we're getting down to some of the practical things of why understanding the illusion can help you. Okay, if you have anxiety, now look at this model. Before we go on, you see, we got to step back. I don't have any agenda. I don't have any notes. I just start talking, and sometimes I remember I left something out. We talked about how fast the information goes into a body, into us. We don't even know where our body is. We think we do. So it goes into us, inside of us, and it's filtered by the subconscious. I forgot to tell you what the subconscious was, how fast it operates. Now, it's a little bit different. The subconscious mind, you can't test it like you can your senses. Your senses are instruments that you can test pretty good. The subconscious mind, you don't know where it is. You have no idea what goes on inside of it. You have ideas what goes on inside the eye, inside your nose, inside your mouth, your taste, hearing, you know, all that. You have no idea what goes on inside the subconscious mind. So we know what goes in. Here we go. We got information on this side. We got different information on this side. So we know what comes in. We know what goes out. We know a couple other things. I don't know how they test it, but they do. And so there's a range as to how fast the subconscious mind operates. And the range is this: 40 billion bits per second, or the other high end is 400 billion bits per second. Now, that's pretty damn fast. That's a lot faster than the input information coming from your senses. So basically, you have no idea that the information is filtered. You don't have a clue consciously that this process is going on, because this is all you know. This secondary data, after it's been filtered through this very fast and very efficient subconscious mind, based upon your past. So now, with that understanding, you're going to create inside of here all of the objects in your world. All the objects that you have in your world, right now in front of you, what you're sitting on, what you're eating, it's all created. It's an interpretation of filtered and manipulated data. And you believe it's your world. Now comes in the conscious mind. Conscious mind. So, well, we got the subconscious, we got the sensory input, we have the world that we create, interpret into being, and now we have the conscious mind. What's the conscious mind do? Conscious mind. Make believe this is conscious mind. Here it is. Can you see that? Oh, yeah, you can. Okay, there it is. Now, we know how fast the information comes in. We know how fast the subconscious mind operates and that it's much faster than the input information. How fast does the conscious mind operate? Well, they've tested that too, see? This is easy to test. Why? Because you're conscious. So you can answer questions and you can do certain things and they can test how fast you answer questions or how fast things are moving around because you tell them. So, a lot of study on this. And so they're pretty clear. Again, there is a range. Okay? And the range is, depending on how the tests are done, the range is 40 to 100 bits of data per second. Bits of data per second. Maximum 100 bits of data per second. Now, they thought they were going to find a lot more because conscious mind tells us what to do and how the world is. They tested pianists and mathematicians and athletes. Tested a lot of people because we wanted to find out how fast the conscious mind operates. 100 bits per second. It's 1 billion times slower than the subconscious mind is operating. It doesn't know this filter system is in place. Now, science knows this filter system is in place, but they relate it to the limbic system of the brain and the hippocampus. And that part of the middle brain where all this is supposed to be going on. They still can't find memories. This is going on so fast, the conscious mind has no idea what's happening inside. So it takes what I call screen shots of the rapid operation of all of this other stuff. It takes screenshots, and then it grabs the screenshot and tells you what's happening after it's happened. And what can it tell you operating at 100 bits per second when the rest of this is operating in millions and billions of data per second? So what it does is it sees this, It looks up and says, oh, the inside interpretation. And by convention, because the conscious mind is also related to the ego. We talked a little bit in the past about what the ego is. The ego, and it projects. We talked about projection and extension, the difference between projection and extension in another video. So the conscious mind projects the screenshots of what it thinks is happening onto the outside everything. And so you think the world you created in here is outside of you. Why? Your conscious mind told you. Your conscious mind, the slow conscious mind told you that your inside interpretation of the very fast operation of this whole process is outside of you. And so you believe there's an outside world. Now, the next time we get together, because this is kind of the end of this, and what's the conclusion from the model? And of course, I developed it, but not by myself. I didn't get this information. I didn't develop it by myself. I got other people's information. The only thing I did is look at it in a slightly different way. So now, your outside world, which you believe must be the way it is, that this outside world that you have projected onto it must be the way it is. And so if you have a world, a life that is not too good, not too happy, not too pleasant, it's because of what you did in here. Has nothing to do with what's outside of you. What you think is outside of you is a direct reflection of what you're doing inside. And what you're doing inside depends on your past experiences. So your past experiences through memories are determining your present world. So a lot of people, and this gets into another area that I work in, and that's psychotherapy, that they're having trouble with the outside world through relationships, through work, through their kids, through school, through everything. They think it's all out here. Well, if I only had a better car out here, a newer car, a fresher car, a new job. If I get a new job out here, my world would be better. Not until you change the filter. It's your filter of your past that is determining your present world that you have projected out here. So if you start changing stuff out here, you're only changing the effect. You're changing effects. You're moving the blocks around. The effect but this is the cause. How do you change that? That's what we do in psychotherapy. We got to change the cause. Cause is determined by your filter. Your filter is the way it is because of your memories of the past. So basically, to heal the present, you got to heal your past. You got to let go of what you don't need from the past. And this can be very scary because many of these memories that are determining your world go all the way back to your first relationships. And where were your first relationships? In your family of origin. So as we go on now, this is in the background. This model will be in the background as we move forward and talk about how we can change our life and have a better world. And won't that be interesting? So, until we get together again. Now I'm going to kind of change this because now I'm going to move from, I'm not through with looking at the illusion and aspects of the illusion, but I want to move a little bit more into some practical things, and the practical things will be around psychotherapy. How we can use the model in psychotherapy. Because when you go into psychotherapy, what you're saying is, I recognize I have to change. I'm hurting so bad that I got to do something. But most of them don't recognize they have to change their past. They think they have to change the present. They think they have to change what's out here. Nah, that won't help. You'll give them a respite, and they say, well, I'll take medication. And medication will give you a respite. It won't solve this problem. It won't solve how you filter your world. It won't heal your past. So we have a lot to talk about. So until we get together again, be good to yourself, have fun, and we'll see you next time. Bye now. Oh, wait a minute. I did it again. I forgot to remind you to subscribe below or push the like button. Don't push the don't like button. I don't like that. So push the good button. And we'll see you next time. Bye now.